Who needs fancy supplies when trash and caffeine will do the trick? Today, we're roasting up beautiful fall decor using coffee grounds, Dollar Tree goodies, or trash from your recycle bin. I'm Melissa, and this is CraftCrumbs. Thank you for joining me. I roasted about a cup and a half of fresh coffee grounds that I purchased at the Dollar Tree in the oven for 2 to 3 minutes at 225 degrees. While they were roasting, I filled the entire house with the sweet smell of coffee, which I'll take over the smell of a candle any day. I'm using a small votive from the Dollar Tree and a piece of canvas fabric that I had in my stash. You can use any kind of fabric or even ribbon for this step. I'm rounding those corners because we're going to Mod Podge this to the votive, and rounded corners are more likely to stay down. Before I do the gluing though, I want to add some detail, so I'm going to stamp on a flower just lightly to the canvas fabric. And this is the first time I've ever used one of those glass plates to apply a stamp. I typically use whatever I can find nearby, like the back of the stamp pad or the lid to the stamp pad or whatever. And one of you lovely people watching has recommended this glass stamp applicator thingy, and I was a little resistant to it at first because I really do like to use what I have rather than buying extra things. But I stand corrected. This did make the application much easier and I had less mess. If you've been watching me, you've seen me mess up these stamps time and time again, and my little naive brain didn't realize that there was an easier way. That being cheap is not always the best way to handle things. One of the main reasons I DIY as much as possible is so I don't find myself crying at the checkout. That would be weird. That would be awkward, right? Okay, I'll get back to the project. I am using a moderate amount of Mod Podge to get the canvas fabric onto this little votive. I'm going to do the same on a small lidded jar that I bought from Hobby Lobby recently. Set them aside to dry and come back to finish the project and get into the good stuff. I set these aside to dry for about 30 minutes, and coming back, I'm going to cover the canvas fabric with masking tape. I'm going to make sure that the edges of the masking tape are cut very straight so I get a straight line when I'm adding the coffee grounds, and I'm leaving about a centimeter around the edge of the canvas exposed. I'm going to use Mod Podge very generously here to cover the glass and then start sprinkling on the coffee grounds. As I go, I'm gently pushing the coffee grounds into the glue. I realized I needed a little more glue and coffee grounds on the bottom of the jar, so I took care of that and set this aside to dry for about 15 minutes. Coming back, I'm going to use my little hand broom here to brush off any loose coffee, and now I'm going to apply the second coat exactly the way I did the first. I allowed this to dry overnight, and now I'm just removing the masking tape that covered the canvas fabric. And I'll use my X-Acto knife to clean up any edges that look a little ragged. And we'll give it a nice smooth edge. I'm using the same knife to clean up the top edge and scrape off any glue that was hardened on there. And I'm just going to do the same thing to the second jar. The next time you're at the grocery store or the Dollar Tree, pick up a Frappuccino and use the bottle to create a larger version of this same DIY. I took the lid to the Frappuccino bottle as well as the flexible lid that came with the second smaller jar we did outside to give them a coat of black matte paint. I'm going to come back to the smaller jars and add some final touches. I used my circle template to trace and cut out 1.5-inch circles from that same canvas fabric, and I'll use a couple of those to embellish these glass pieces. I'm adding some hemp cord around the edges of the circle to finish it off. To make it a little more fun, I'm going to use a scrap piece of mesh fabric that I have, and I'm going to just add that right before adding this little paper flower. Look how cute that is. I'll link this mesh fabric down below for you. It comes in a pack of different varieties of what's called material paper, and a lot of it is very useful in crafts. Even if you're not a paper craft, if you're a paper crafter, you'll love them, but if you're not a paper crafter, you'll love them for things like this. Walmart sells packs of paper doilies that are better quality than the Dollar Tree, and I like to tea dye them and just hang on to them for random crafts. And that's what I've done here. I've grabbed one out of my stash and I'm going to add it underneath the lid, add a few buttons to the front, and then this one will be done. Here's the Frappuccino bottle. For this one, I did the exact same thing, but instead of using canvas fabric, I used wired ribbon, but pulled the wire out of it. I'm going to speed through this because you've already seen the process, but I do want to tell you that if you do not have coffee grounds, but you have tea bags, you can certainly use the tea out of the tea bags. When you're finished using your tea bags, you simply set them under the sun to dry. It then just cut those tea bags open and store the grounds inside an airtight container. I usually keep the tea bag itself as well because it's now a beautiful tea dyed stain and great to use in a variety of projects. For the Frappuccino lid, because this was slightly larger, I used another one of those canvas fabric circles, but I frayed the edges for a little more interest. Once again, fraying just the sides of another one of these circles. I'll add a few extras to the bottle for a polished finish and call this one done as well. I think it's worth mentioning that if you want to recreate this and follow the steps that I've laid out for you in this video, you're not going to have coffee grounds falling off of your glassware. If you do have coffee grounds falling off and you've done everything to fix it but can't, I mean, I really don't think that's going to happen, but if it's a concern, then just cover the grounds with a coat of dark brown paint. You could probably even seal it with a clear top coat, but I have not personally tried that. To demonstrate what it would look like with the coat of brown paint, I'm going to show you this one after being painted next to the others that weren't painted in just a sec. There we go. Boy, that was a quick sec. You can see I added a variety of buttons, paper flowers, and even crocheted flowers to decorate these, but there are countless different things that you can use to customize yours and make it more your personality. Let me know in the comments what you think about this coffee or tea DIY for fall. If you enjoyed this video, you should check out one of these next. Give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, my friend, don't forget to craft what you love.